I want to compare the two. If I wanted to compare these two with that other chart type, I would have to have two columns side by side. So I would have to do something, I could do something like that. Okay, let's move forward from here. So I do think that this is the better chart to use. And this is a nice way to reinforce what it is we're talking about. Now this, however, is also something where we want to think, of course, as far as, are we representing this information fairly? And unfortunately, this is something where you can distort information very easily, regardless of whether you're using a tool through, a very reputable word processing unit system. Even if you're using Word to create this chart, you still can create something that distorts your data. And I have just created a chart that distorts data. And if you can, take a look at this for a quick second and hit pause and see whether you can figure out why this distorts it. Okay, if you're back, and let's see whether you figured it out. The reason why this distorts it is because this only goes to 70%. This axis here, this axis, only goes to 70%. And so it makes it look like this is almost 100% of the people here in the United States are using the internet for information. Okay? And that is a distortion, because this is 65%, and that is a far cry from 100%. And this happens all the time, folks. And if you don't watch out, you're going to do this without even realizing it. And someone's going to look at that, and they're not going to realize this is only 70%, and they're going to say, well, gosh, everyone's using the internet now. Look, there's only a little space there. And they're going to look at the visual there, and they're not going to look at this 70%. So we need to fix this to make this a responsible chart. And many people don't take that. They stop here and they'll post it. And I will tell you that I've seen this on more websites and communications in business and technical and, you name it, professional writing. Writing in the social sciences, writing in humanities, you name it. It's out there. And people aren't doing it maliciously. It's just, it happens. Now, the problem is it might take you a while to figure out how to change it. But like anything else, these you can usually change, even though sometimes it will take you a while to figure out how to do it. But eventually you will be able to figure out how to do it. Now, in order to fix this so we don't have any kind of misleading visual here, or so that we don't make a misleading graphic, what we need to do is to go into our chart tools. And by the way, this did take me a while to find this, and it'll probably take me a while again to find it if I need it again. And so if you don't do these every day, expect to spend a little bit of time when you need to do these things, but it's time well worth spending. Okay, so anyway, in chart tools, if you go into layout, this has all kinds of options in here. And so what I found was, if you go into axes here, and we're thinking about the primary vertical axis here. I'm going to go into more primary axes options, and here we have axes options, and here we have a minimum and we have a maximum. And see the maximum, see how all of these are auto-generated? And this is auto-generated a maximum at 0.7. So we want to change that. So if we go and change that to fixed, we can change it to 1.0, which would be 100%. And boom, now we have 100%. And that, my friends, doesn't that make that chart look quite different? Now I would be okay with putting that in. Could also go and say, to make this more aesthetically kind of line those up with the the actual lines of the chart. Now you can also go and do all kinds of things here. Like for instance, you can, under this layout bar here, and you can look at under these chart tools. It's like any of those other things, if you're doing a table or whatnot. When you have these special menus that come up and these special toolbars, take the time to look to see what kind of tools they're offering you, because usually they're offering you things that are beneficial to you. So, it is worth a few minutes to check it out. Now, see here, they have chart table, axes titles. You can go in and mess with a legend if you need to. Data labels. Now, I put a lot of information right here in these, so I really don't need, like, years are kind of evident, so I don't need to put years down here. But you might need to put some kind of title for your axis down here. And this, I have population over here, but I could put population here. Same thing, chart title. If I wanted to put a chart title above here, I could, and I can resize this however I so desire. As soon as I'm done and I'm happy with my data, by the way, I can close out of the Excel spreadsheet portion of this and it will save that. Now, you also do want to make sure that you hit save to make certain that you do have your chart saved. But here, now that I have that, I can resize this all that I want. Now that's a fairly nice chart, and it depends how exactly, much emphasis I want to put on this. If this is a big deal, maybe I do want to have it to take up a lot of space. If it's not a big deal, then I probably want to reduce it somehow. If I reduce it somehow, maybe I want to do something different with these. Maybe I want to put United States and world here and then do something with the axes here and make my title more usable, like population that prefers online information, or populations that prefer, or percentage of population to prefer online information. And you put United States population, world population, and then that would give me more options here to get all of that out of there. So there's all kinds of things that you can do to increase your usability here with just simple changes to your titles. And what I would do is probably try to figure out what would be the best way to convey that information, and this would most likely not hold in the final document if I was making use of this chart. Okay.